On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about I Feel the Everblack Festering Within Me by Lorna Shore. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it, and we are finally talking about the new Lorna Shore album. When this album came out, we were in a non-metal month, but I didn't jump at the chance to talk about this because I wasn't really sure how I felt about it.
You weren't really sure?
I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really sure how I felt about it when it came out and what little I listened to it at that point. And I've got some feelings about the album. I didn't hate it. But,
no, I didn't hate it either. I got some mixed review.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about that later and why that might be.
All right.
But how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good.
I think so. I'm my back hurts a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So does yours. It's that time of the year where you start to ache. Because,
yeah.
I mean, obviously you're doing some fall cleanup or whatever, or your fall minis.
For me it was not doing any chores or anything like that. I mean, I fuck my neck up like at least 3 times a year, it seems. Sure. My posture is so absolutely trash. And all of my hobbies are stuff that that actively like encourage my worst tendencies when it comes to my posture. You know, things that it feels very natural to slouch.
Sure.
I think I've gotten better when it comes to gaming, trying to sit up straight. This chair that I'm sitting in helps with that. You know, it's got a nice neck rest that you can't really take advantage of unless you're sitting up straight and leaning back, as I'm doing now, which is kind of a nice reminder to check your posture. But my neck has hurt since Friday evening, or I guess since Saturday morning. I didn't notice anything when I went to bed on Friday.
Sure.
It's always when you wake up in the morning, you go, I can't move my neck. I can't. It was so bad on Monday night where you never realize when you're getting up from like sitting down or laying down, like how much your muscles in like your neck and your shoulders kind of lead that motion a little bit, until using them causes you so much pain that you're like, how do I get up without engaging any of the muscles in my neck? How do I do that? So that sucked a lot.
Yeah. Feel your pain, man. I throw my back out all the time, and you forget how pivotal that is. So until you're sitting down, you're like, this is where I am now.
Yeah, I can no longer move from this position. It's definitely gotten better over the last 2 days. And it sucks because I was so excited on Friday. I made a bunch of progress putting together this box of Space Marines that I'm working on. I'm getting close to finishing the first, full step. And then I haven't done anything since then because I know if I work, it's just going to make things worse.
Right.
So yeah, it's like I was saying before we started recording, is like I remembered why I wanted a standing desk so bad in the spring.
A standing bed?
A standing bed. Like I'd like some sort of sci-fi, like a bed on the space station that you get strapped into.
Right, and you sleep sort of like a vampire.
Yeah,
almost.
You're sort of vertical.
Yeah.
I guess those are good. They have like sleeping bags, I think, that they're sort of strapped into, if I remember correctly, how that works. God, that's got to be weird. That's on some level, that's got to be kind of nice for your back.
You would think.
like, you stretch out, I imagine, a bit. At least that's always how it is on like in The Expanse, for example.
Right.
Like speculative biology about like, okay, what would humans look like if we, lived our whole lives in low or zero gravity? We'd probably stretch out and get tall. But your muscles and bones would be really weak. So I wonder if that is a thing with astronauts, if they get taller while they're in space because you're not, your skeleton's not being compressed by gravity.
Right.
I wonder if that's a thing.
I don't know. I mean, I wish I could have found out more about those two people who got stuck at the space station for what, was a whole year? Was it?
I don't know if it was quite that long. I don't remember how long they were there. Those two, they're probably still in quarantine
at this point.
It takes a while.
I thought they landed in like February. No.
It was,
maybe they were supposed to land in February.
They were. I can't remember when they came back. I think it might have been June. They were supposed to come back in like. What do I Google? Astronauts who got stuck in space. Who got stuck in space. Thank you, Google. They were there for 286 days.
Wow.
On the International Space Station. Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore. When did they return? Oh, it was in March. It was in March of 2025. But yeah, they were supposed to be there for a week. They were supposed to be on the space station for 1 week.
There for a better part of a year.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they broke the record for the longest any single person has spent in space. I suppose if they came back in March, they probably are out of quarantine by this point. But I'm always shocked at how long that actually is once you come back. Not just from like, potential pathogens in space, but also just like, your bones and your muscles are not so good anymore.
And you've been exposed to a shitload of radiation.
Yeah. That's one of the later chapters of World War Z, the book, which I reread last year for the first time in quite a long time. The book the book I like quite a lot. The movie's okay. It just has nothing to do with the book. Is the problem.
The one that Max. I gotta forget his last name.
I could have told you too. Max Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks.
I could have told
Mel Brooks.
I was going to say it a little bit ago, and I was like, I don't need to say the writer. And then you said that, I was like, fuck. Now I don't remember. But yeah, Zima, are you gonna jump in my lap or not? Thank you. One of the later chapters is about one of the astronauts who was on the International Space Station when the zombie apocalypse started.
Yeah.
And he and the other astronauts decide to stay on the space station, not just because there's zombies down there, but also because we can do stuff up here. We can, we've got cameras and whatnot, and can, observe things from up here. I think they did also get a little forgotten about at some point, but the chapter ends basically saying that he's the only one of these astronauts left and is currently dying of all the cancer basically from radiation exposure.
Oh geez.
Yeah, I quite like the book of World War Z. The one thing about that book that really pisses me off, though, is that Max Brooks has a really stereotypical hate boner for the M16.
Really?
It's one of those things of someone who watched a documentary once about how poorly it did when it was introduced in Vietnam, which was also not the fault of the gun. It was the fault of the ammunition that was issued with the gun, and it wasn't the ammunition it was designed to use.
So it would jam.
Yeah, the most of the problems with the M16 in Vietnam come from the fact that when Armalite / Colt presented it to the Army, because the Air Force had bought a number of examples just to use on their own for security stuff, and then later the Army was like, oh, these guns are really lightweight, and the smaller ammunition, you can carry a lot more of it. That's pretty neat. Why don't you show it to us? So they showed it off. It did really well. And so the Army bought it. And then someone at the, in procurement for the War Department or whatever it was at the time. I mean, it's the War Department again now.
Right.
For some fucking reason. But someone decided, we're going to go with a different powder formulation for this ammo, despite the fact that, being a gas-operated semi-automatic weapon, what powder you use in the ammo is kind of important, especially since it's not a gas piston. Like the gas system on the AR-15 is not self-contained, where it's got, a little hole in the front of, towards the end of the barrel.
Right. Gas
goes up out of that hole and into a tube, and that tube goes all the way back to the breech block of the firearm, right next to, like, on top of the bolt carrier group.
Sure.
It hits that directly and pushes that backwards. It's what's called direct impingement. What that means is if the gas is real dirty and has a lot of unburned powder in it, all of that fouling is going directly into the part that's most important for the gun to work. And they started using an ammunition that was a lot more dirty than what it was tested with.
Probably cheaper.
Yeah, and that's why the things didn't fucking work. It's not because, you get any dirt or mud into it. It's actually really quite hard to get dirt and mud into an AR-15 because when the bolt is closed, that whole thing is sealed up tight. Like the AK-47 is, I'm on a gun rant now, sorry.
Yeah. I'm still here.
All of this is to say, for the longest time, the AR-15 platform, its reputation was so utterly tarnished, and people thought it was totally unreliable. Why is our military still using this fucking thing? It's because actually it works. You're just operating off of information from 1968.
Which is faulty.
Yeah, which was never really the case. It was dumbasses who, didn't listen to the fucking engineers that built the gun, and decided, you never need to clean it. And everyone at Armalite went, what? No, that's not what we said. But so in World War Z, in the middle of an apocalypse, the United States military decides to get rid of all their M16s and manufacture an entirely new weapons system that uses a larger, heavier bullet with more recoil, despite the fact that earlier in the book it was talked about how a 22 will do just fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would the military get rid of all these huge stockpiles of smaller, lighter bullets that you can carry more of that have very little recoil when fired out of the weapon they already have? Like, so much of the rest of the book is so well thought out, but his hatred of the M16 for no particular reason makes for this chapter that's just like, this goes against like everything you've already set up in this book, Max. What the fuck? So yeah, as a gun nerd, that chapter of the book,
it was irksome.
Yeah, is always irksome. Everything else in that book is really good. If you just forget about the whole SIR thing, because I think it stands for Standard Infantry Rifle, is the replacement, where it's like, if you just forget about that whole chapter and focus on the rest of the stuff and just imagine that they're still using M16s and M4s, then it's fine. But yeah, I've always thought that book would have been so much better adapted to like an HBO miniseries, rather than the movie that we got. Which if I hadn't read the book, I probably would have liked that movie just fine. It's a decent enough movie.
It's got Brad Pitt's in it, isn't it?
Yeah. Like it's a good zombie movie, but it just has absolutely nothing to do with the book, except for the plot line where the Israelis are the ones that have they really know what they're doing. They've really figured it out, and that feels not quite so okay.
Feels like it hasn't aged.
Yeah. A really optimistic view of the Israeli government at that time, where it's like, oh, when the zombie apocalypse started, well, they've opened their arms to all of the Palestinians who have even left. Have gone out into the world. You're all welcome to come back.
When was this written?
As if this was written in 2007, 2008.
I was going to say 20
like
years
that.
ago, something like that, baby.
Yeah,
He was optimistic about.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
Yeah, that if something like this happened, the Israeli government would allow not just the people in Gaza to come behind their walls, but all Palestinians across the world. Yikes.
Yeah.
But other than that, the book's really good. I've always heard the audiobook is really, really good. The voice cast is apparently Mark Hamill is one of the voice casts, because there's a ton of different characters, because it's like documentary style. It's like interviews with a bunch of different people. It's neat. It's a neat book. And it held up for the most part, other than when I reread it, the stuff in Gaza hadn't happened.
Right.
And then there was, of course, the gun stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I started replaying Dark Souls 3.
Really?
For some reason. I'm trying to save some money, so I decided not to buy any new games for a while. Mm-hmm. Because there's a bunch of games. It's like, I'd like to replay that. I like to replay that. I like to replay that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're trying to save money. You got these games that you want to replay. Why don't you pick one? Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, I was like, Dark Souls 3. I wanted to do a New Game Plus run, but my save file was lost. I had assumed that there was cloud saving. There was not, because when I played Dark Souls 3, it was on the computer that you have now.
Oh. It's funny. Anytime it's ever happened to me, I get a quick flash of, oh no, and disappointment.
Yeah.
Then that's quickly replaced with, guess I got to play it again.
Well, I was going to play it again. It just was going to be easy at the start.
Yeah.
It's just going to be much easier to start off, which I think is a good, a good thing for Dark Souls 3, because I don't like the opening of Dark Souls 3. Mm-hmm. The intro is all right, like the waking up in the graveyard and then fighting Gundyr before you get to the Firelink Shrine. Like,
sure, that's
fine. The first dungeon of the game, which is called the High Wall of Lothric, I hate that area. I absolutely hate it. Mm-hmm. Partially because it's just so fucking loud.
Really?
I think I talked about this on here when I first played Dark Souls 3 a number of years ago. Like, Dark Souls 1 is a shockingly quiet game 99% of the time, because there's no ambient music.
Oh.
And like the only music in the game is, I think, the music at Firelink Shrine, and then the boss music. And Dark Souls 3, I think, is mostly the same when it comes to music, but there's a lot more ambient noise in the world. And in the High Wall of Lothric, that ambient noise is a drake sitting on one of the tops of one of the towers, screeching constantly and breathing fire down on this place that you need to go through. And there's undead all over the place that are screeching or going, and it's so loud. And I hate it. I don't like the area. But I last night when I was playing, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's how you get to where Vort. I was like, what's the name of the big weird dog knight man? And his name is Vort of the Boreal Valley. And he's like a huge dude in a suit of armor, but he is on all fours like a dog. Yeah, you get to him, and then you get out into the rest of the world. Right. Which Dark Souls, like the map of Dark Souls 3 is really weird, because it's not open world Like the Dark Souls games were never really open world. Right. Like they're more like a Zelda game or like a Metroidvania type game where like you can just go all around the map willy-nilly, but they're narrow lanes.
Gotcha.
And like Dark Souls 1, the map is extremely vertical, where it's just stuff is stacked on top of each other, and it's really vertically dense. And you'll be playing, you'll be 30 hours into the game, and you'll be deep underground, and you'll find an elevator and be like, where does this go? And you get on it, and then 2 minutes later, you're back in Firelink Shrine. You're like, I'm back at the start of the game. This was here the whole time? What the fuck?
Wow.
And like Dark Souls 2, the map, as I understand it, is pretty flat, but it's sort of like radial paths where
that's the one you haven't played.
Yeah, it's like as I understand, it's sort of like star-shaped paths radiating out from your hub area.
Gotcha.
Where there's multiple cardinal directions that you can go. Whereas Dark Souls 3 is just kind of like a straight line. You get to High Wall of Lothric, and then you just kind of it's not literally a straight line, but your path never circles back on itself. There's never that moment where you get on an elevator and it takes you back to the starting area. You can just teleport between bonfires. But there's not really any meaningful like big digressions and loops and anything like that. It's other than like the small little ones in the individual dungeons. And then you got Elden Ring, which is just a traditional open world.
Right. You skipped over Bloodborne.
Yeah. Bloodborne is a lot more like it's got more in common with Dark Souls 1, I would think, in terms of
there's
being
a lot of loopiness.
Yeah, being kind of vertically stacked and finding pathways back to the starting area. It's not quite so much because like your hub area is its own world that you go to. Like the Hunter's Dream is totally separate from the rest of the world.
Right.
But it does have a little bit more of that Dark Souls 1 like sort of vertical integration and kind of like Dark Souls 2 with like paths going off in totally separate directions. Whereas Dark Souls 3, like I said, is just kind of a straight shot. It's just a line. You keep heading in this direction. The rail goes one way. It's pretty wide in some areas, but ultimately it's all heading that way.
Right.
It's like a river. There are some lakes here and there, but eventually you're going to end up in the ocean, and the ocean is whatever the final boss of Dark Souls 3 is called.
You don't remember?
Soul of Cinder. There we go. There are certain characters and bosses in Dark Souls 3 that I really like, but I am kind of realizing, like thinking about the game, like, actually there's a lot of it that isn't that memorable.
Which one is the nun in the?
That's Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
A lot of the most memorable things in Dark Souls 3 are in its DLCs.
Oh.
And yeah, Sister Freda is
frustrating.
I'm not excited about the idea of fighting her again. I know all her gimmicks at this point, so maybe it won't be nearly as bad as the first time, but holy shit. That I think that's the most I've ever beat my head against a wall for a boss in any game.
In any game. So she's harder in your purview than like Melania or.
I think, at the time she was, but that's just because I had far less experience at the time. And Elden Ring is so much wider as far as like things you can do, ways you can be good at the game. There's so much more options, whereas the like in Dark Souls 3 the like optimizing your character is there are much fewer options in Dark Souls 3 for playing like an optimal character that you're going to be good at fighting with. And at the time, definitely, Freyda felt much harder than Melania, and like Melania is in some ways a copy of Freyda. Basically, like if there is a boss where a tall woman in a FromSoft game, they are all patterned off of Lady Maria from Bloodborne.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Dark Souls 3 came out after Bloodborne.
Yeah. So they're all basically homages to Lady Maria. And Lady Maria is not too bad. I mean, I definitely struggled with her it was right before Baldur's Gate 3 came out. Wow. I was playing Bloodborne, and I was like, I want to at least beat Lady Maria before I start playing Baldur's Gate 3. And so I spent all day on like a Saturday for like 5 hours straight just fighting Lady Maria.
Wow.
And did not succeed.
Wow.
And then I played all of Baldur's Gate 3, and then I went back to Bloodborne and beat her on my second try.
I've noticed that's how things often work. That's how things work.
On my playthrough of Dark Souls 3, I did beat the first boss on my first try. But I am also using the most broken starter build, which is the Mercenary with the Sellsword twin blades.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for most of this playthrough because there's a lot I feel like I've forgotten about in Dark Souls 3. I went back to Dark Souls 1 a number of times.
And beat it a number of times?
I think I've only beaten the whole thing once. Yeah, like, and Dark Souls 1 is kind of like more ingrained in my memory because I've watched a number of like full playthroughs of it.
Sure.
Whereas 3 feels a lot more kind of wishy-washy. I think it's I don't know if there's anyone whose like favorite Soulsborne game is Dark Souls 3. People like to make fun of Dark Souls 2, but there are people who really love Dark Souls 2. I don't know if there's anyone who really loves Dark Souls 3. I think everyone's just kind of like, yeah, all right. Like 2 is divisive. 3 seems to be kind of forgettable. And I used to, like, when I played it for the first time and after I was done with it, I was like, I don't get why people say that. But now I'm replaying it, I'm going,
okay.
I kind of get it now. Like, it's got its big high points. Like, I still think Slave Knight Gale is one of the best bosses in the entire franchise. I adore that boss fight. I think he's such a cool character. That boss fight has so much hype and aura surrounding it.
Was he one? Did you know you were going to have to fight him? You meet him earlier in the game, don't you?
Yes. If you have the DLCs installed. I mean, I knew I was going to have to fight him because I was aware of the fight before I ever even picked up the game.
Right.
Yeah, I already knew that I was going to have to fight him, but there's not really any indication that he will be a boss, especially looking like he does, because when you meet him, he's, just a normal NPC. He's got the same character, same basic character frame as you. And he's this old man in really shitty armor, and he's got this, red hood in his beard, and will you go into the painted world and do this? And you're like, all right, old man. And then you can summon him to help you a number of times. And then at the end of the second DLC, because there's 2, you run into his shade a couple of times. You can summon him for stuff. And then all of a sudden, he's here, and now he's 10 feet tall. He's got a gaping hole in his chest because he's killed and eaten the souls of everyone in the world because you've been propelled forward in time. And you're like the last 2 people left in the universe. There's some wild shit happening in the background of that fight. It's... I really like that boss. I would have loved if there was like, because there's a number of bosses in Elden Ring that are like, oh, this is this boss. Here's a little bit of this boss's moveset. Nobody had Slave Knight Gale as far as I could tell, and I wanted it. his moveset is like one of a number of attempts at Miyazaki of like, what if Guts from Berserk was a boss in this game?
Yeah.
It's I love it for that reason. Artorias from Dark Souls 1 is also in that exact same vein of what if Guts but Dark Souls.
Right.
And I really like it. I don't know. Do you want to talk about something I don't like quite as much?
There's Lorna Doone.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Lorna Shore is an American deathcore band from New Jersey. And they've been around since the late aughts, as it were.
Yeah.
If you're British, but they've more recently become quite well known, and gotten really big in the last couple of years.
Yes.
Since their new vocalist, not quite so new at this point, but since Will Ramos joined the band, he's got an incredible vocal range. And the amount of like techniques and voices he can do is just absolutely insane.
Yes.
He's an amazing vocalist. And the first full album they released with him, Pain Remains, which we talked about a couple years ago when it came out, was a huge success for them. And a lot of people were like, wow, this is amazing. But there were a couple of people, I remember reading that going like, this all feels kind of samey. And at the time I was like, what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
And then I was listening to this going like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, it feels
it's kind of like with Dark Souls 3, where it's like, oh, I get what they were saying now.
Yeah.
I feel like there's one guitar solo on this album. And I don't mean there's only one on one of the songs. I mean, every guitar solo is exactly the same. Every guitar solo sounds almost exactly the same. And it's all the guitar solo from Pain Remains, the title track.
Right.
Of the I feel like the guitarist only knows how to do the one solo. And I could feel that like bugging the shit out of me. It's like, what? Do something else or don't do anything. Like you don't need to keep doing the same thing. And the big key shift is another thing. The big key change.
Right.
Which was something from the title track of Pain Remains. They did that a number of times, and it's like, okay, it's a really good trick, but you're still a one-trick pony. And that's just the feeling that it came away from it. Is like, man, I wish they would try something else, try something new. I like this.
I mean, it might turn out that that's all they know how to do.
Maybe. I don't want to believe it. Like, there is a little bit different. Like, the song War Machine has a very different vibe from the rest of the album. And spoilers, that's why I put it down as my favorite. It's like, oh, this is actually different. There's a different vibe here. There's a different tone. There's something about it that felt a little bit more, a little bit less symphonic, a little bit more rough around the edges that I appreciated. Not that I dislike symphonic deathcore or these kind of blackened riffs that they're doing. I don't mind that at all, but there wasn't a lot of variation to it.
Right.
It almost feels like they are leaning on Will's voice too much to like carry the album. And I felt that in the mix too. I felt like there were so many times where I felt like I could barely hear the guitars. Because, and that's weird to me on a deathcore album.
Yeah.
It
feels like deathcore's answer to power metal.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it definitely is for some people. I was looking at comments on Reddit of people's feelings about this album, and it seems to be that there are sort of two camps about this, which is people who are like certainly myself and seemingly you as well, that are like, this is good, but I wish there was a bit more variety. Makes me kind of sad that this is so formulaic.
Right.
And then other people are like, hell yeah, more of the stuff I like. And I'm happy for those people.
Yes.
It's just not quite what I wanted, because when Pain Remains came out, it felt very different from a lot of what had been, what had been released, at the time. There was a lot of different albums coming out in that couple year period when it came to deathcore, like Kin by Whitechapel was fantastic, wonderful, delightful. I love that album. I love Phil's clean vocals on that. I loved how emotive it was without like totally sacrificing being heavy and gnarly at times. Like obviously Whitechapel went really hard, back in the old school gore-drenched direction with their newest album, which I also loved, but like it's so different. It was, it was definitely a progression from The Valley when it released, but it was like, Kin really is its own thing. And you had like there was a new there was a new Shadow of Intent album around that time that was, similar to these guys, the big symphonic elements, but there's like a gnarly edge to their sound that Lorna Shore feels like they've smoothed everything out so much, and I felt let down by that. I don't know. They also do a thing on here that I have never liked in deathcore and metalcore. Okay. And it's putting bass drops in. I hate electronic bass drops in metal. I hate it. Especially when you're when they're inserted like as part of the lead into a breakdown. I do not like electronic bass drops in my metal. Do it with your instruments. Sure. Do it with your instruments. I don't care for it at all, and they're all over this album. Yeah. On the first track, they do one that's so loud it like seems to artificially peak. It seems to like artificially flatten out on the waveform. Yeah. It's like overmodulated, which I think it's supposed to be that, but like that was cool. But they didn't quite do that again, but they kept on using like the bass drop sound, and I've never liked that. It's always bugged the shit out of me. There was a Christian metalcore band called For Today that did that incessantly, to the point where it became like a meme for them.
And I feel whenever you hear that, I feel like somewhere in the middle of it, you should hear, "Yo, ready for this?"
Yeah, it just it bothers me because I always hear it, and it's always out of place to me, because I'm like, one of you has a bass guitar, one of you is playing a bass drum, like you can make those noises, not those noises, but you can get that kind of oomph out of your instrument somehow. I believe in you, but I don't know if they can, because it feels like they only know how to do the one thing. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know. I wish they would sort of stretch their legs a little bit more and with like the riffs and whatnot. There's like no riffs on this album. Yeah. With the exception of like War Machine. War Machine has an actual honest to God riff on it. It's not the best riff in the world. Yeah,
actually, Unbreakable has a bit going on as well.
Unbreakable has a little bit going on. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't care for Unbreakable very much, because it's so like anthem-y. Yeah. That it feels,
like I say, it feels like power metal.
Yeah.
For people who like deathcore.
Yeah. And I'm sounding very negative about this.
But also only because you hold them to a higher standard from the previous work.
Yeah.
Where were they going to go from this? Oh, nowhere.
Shit. They're just going to do exactly the same thing again. Yeah. And I don't know. Like, again, if you're just happy to have more of the same, hell yeah. I hope you love this album. I think you will love this album. But I don't know. I was hoping for some experimentation and something new, something different.
See, this is why I think bands like Cannibal Corpse and AC/DC have things on lock. I mean, if they tried experimenting with their shit, it would piss everybody off.
Nobody expects something different from them. And I think, I don't know. Does this album slap?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it still does. And maybe there are parts of it that will grow on me, but I'm not so certain because like I don't feel drawn back to this. But most of the reviews that had scores available were pretty positive. There were a couple of 10 out of 10s in there.
Really?
But there were a few slightly lower ones. It came out to about an 85% out of 6 reviews.
I feel like if you've never heard this genre of music before and you were given this, hey,
probably blow your fucking mind.
It would. Yeah.
But if you listened to Pain Remains right before this,
you'd be like, I'll go back and listen to the other one.
Yeah. And maybe it's, having spent 3 years waiting for this to come out. If has it been that
2022?
long?
2022, yeah.
It was 2022? Maybe that's part of it. But I remember that when, they were releasing singles and I listened to a bit of them and went like, this feels really kind of the same to what it was before. And I don't know. I feel like deathcore this year has been like every album that we've listened to since that Whitechapel album has just been spoiled. It's been totally ruined because now in my head I'm like, nothing's gonna be as fucking gnarly as that album. Holy shit. It's I don't know, and it feels like I wish the rest of the band was seemingly operating on the same level of Will Ramos vocally. I will say I didn't look too deep into the lyrics or anything like that.
Right,
they don't seem like they're going absolutely wild with the lyrics, and that's all Will Ramos. So I'm not going to claim that he's a great lyricist.
Right.
He's an amazing vocalist. Lyrics I'm not quite so sure about.
Yeah.
But like, if the rest of the band was like at his level of proficiency, it would be unstoppable. But if they are at that level, it doesn't feel like they're trying, and the production isn't giving them the opportunity to show that off either.
Right.
Yeah, like at times it felt like I could barely hear the guitars.
Well,
unless there was a solo going on, and the solos are so unremarkable. They're very fast. There's lots of, he's hitting a lot of notes, but it's all the same notes we've heard before.
And I felt a lot of the times the symphonic aspect of it was louder than the guitars.
Yeah. And because they're always there too. They're ever present. That's one of the things that I think Shadow of Intent does really well.
The mix.
is the mix, which is one of my complaints about their most recent album, but that was less about the balance between instruments and more about, I think it was a little too trebly for me.
Right.
It felt like the
it
bass
to be EQ'd better.
Yeah, the EQ was off. Like the bass was really flat in the mix for me. At least, what I was listening to on Spotify, which who knows if that's just a digital issue, but like as far as the composition, it's more about the composition when it comes to or in the arrangement when it comes to Shadow of Intent. Like their symphonic elements know when they're supposed to happen. Like they the way they write their songs is things aren't strictly cordoned off, but it's like the instruments know better when to work together and not overpower each other. And okay, we're going to have this segment, and this segment's going to be led by the symphonic parts and keyboard led, and then this part is going to be really heavy riffing with the guitars, and here's the guitar. So it's all happening all at once with Lorna Shore.
Yeah,
and it kind of becomes this big, pretty mess. But not in the good like Devin Townsend way. Because Devin Townsend is a fucking mixing genius.
He is. Heavy Devi.
It's his layering is truly on another level. It's insane. And this ain't it.
Yeah.
This ain't it, unfortunately. What's your favorite song on the album?
I was actually glad to get to Forevermore.
I mean, look, they know how to close an album.
Yeah.
Forevermore it's a great track. Mm-hmm. And I liked it as well. It felt like if you condensed Pain Remains.
Yeah.
Because Pain Remains, as much as I love that 3-parter, boy, it's a long trip.
Yeah, it is.
It's a long journey, and there's a lot in it. And Forevermore feels like, what if we cut that about in half and put all the good parts into one song?
Yeah.
I already said I put War Machine down just because it was different. It was new to the palette. I felt like the guitar solo was more creative on that because the tone of the song was slightly different. They didn't lean into the symphonic parts so much, and I think that'll be the key for them, is pulling back on the symphonic elements a bit. Don't have them there all the time. Learn when better to use them. Don't blow your whole magazine every single, save some of them bullets. You don't have to show all of your tricks in every song. Hold something back. It's like a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
You got to know when to show the monster.
Exactly.
And create some tension and whatnot, and play with some dynamics a little bit more. I was hoping to hear some more like honest to God melody on this, and maybe even some clean singing from Will, because I know he can do it.
Right,
he's done it like on his YouTube channel. He's done covers of like Sleep Token songs and stuff. And he does do some slightly like that kind of melodic screaming a little bit. He does on Forevermore specifically. I believe he does a little bit of that, and I think that's a direction they could go, and it almost feels like it would fit their sound really well. And if they want to keep being big, that's another market. But you add some clean singing in there. There's always going to be people who are like, they're softening up their sound. But I feel like when it comes to deathcore these days, people are a lot less douchey about that now, especially since like the deathcore band like Whitechapel. They're some of the, not quite the OGs, but like been around since like 2008. And Phil Bozeman, one of the best vocalists in the game, and boy, he does some clean vocals, and boy, he's good at them. And their sound really benefited from them leaning into that for a while.
Right.
And it's something I hope they revisit at some point, because I love that as much as I love that new album. I also
not a lot of clean singing on that.
Basically none.
Yeah.
I'd love to, if it becomes like a back and forth sort of thing of like, one for me, one for them situation. Yeah. I'll be perfectly happy with that, because I like both of them. What medal do you bestow upon this album, like Masquerada to Chewbacca?
It's a silver.
Yeah, it's definitely a silver for me as well. It's something that, like, going into it, I wanted to like it more, but it's just like I don't want to reward mediocrity. as if my opinion
will ever
matters.
Get to them, yeah.
But yeah, I kind of expected better.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed I didn't get it. Next week, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I had several ideas, and it's gotten to the point now where I almost can't remember what we've covered.
Well, throw it at me, and we'll see if I remember it. And if it's been a really long time, maybe we just do it again.
Which Voivod albums have we talked about?
Oh, fuck. I'm not going to remember that.
I feel like we talked about two of them.
Here, I'll have to pull up the database.
I like them because they're kind of strange.
Yeah. I remember enjoying Voivod. I'll probably like it even more now than I did then, because we've listened to much more Voy.
Feel like we listened to Dimension Hatros and maybe Killing Technology.
We have listened to Dimension Hatros, Killing Technology. Killing. Doesn't seem like we've done Killing Technology.
Oh.
I'm trying to search. Voivod is VOI.
Yeah.
Yeah. nothing's coming up there. Dimension Hatros is
the only one we've talked about.
Yeah, I guess I didn't put the name of the album in in the description because it's not coming up.
All right.
Dimension Hatros.
That's what we talked about last time. Let's talk about killing technology.
Killing technology.
Yes.
All right. What's the grammar of those words? Are we saying we are we're causing technology to die, or the technology is killing people? Okay.
Using technology to kill.
Awesome. All right. Interesting.
Yes.
Voivod, is Voivod the one that had what's the one that had Rob Flynn in it?
Rob Flynn, that would be Violence.
Violence, that's right. Okay. Before he was in Machine Head.
Right.
Okay. Voivod, Killing Technology.
Yes.
Next week.
1985, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, until then, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you're using to listen to us. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.